but then we realize that there is a lot of gaps. For instance, if you look at service delivery, we're talking about inclusion, but if you look at the service delivery, particularly service delivery, we didn't have anything that relates to health that affects women or health that affects children. So that gap is now what we're trying to fill in with support from DRPC PEPFAR at scale to see that we're able to bridge in the gaps so that we can identify activities. It could be dialogue, it could be policy issues, it could be advocacy issues, so that we know it's really embedded into the OGP costed work plan. Because we cannot do OGP without really taking care of women and children and people living with disability. So the main focus for this retreat is try to fill in the gap, which we have, like I said, we've gotten funding from DRPC, PEPFAR at scale, to be able to fill in the gap so that we're ready and we're set to start implementation of the costed work plan.
There is time frame for this project, which is 2 years.
Yes.
And 2018 is rounding off. When will all this discussion will end up and action will start?
Well, we're hoping immediately once we go back. We have funders that are ready to sponsor, like DRPC is doing now. We're getting funding. DRPC is giving us funding through Women in Media Communication Initiative, and we have other partners that are sponsoring or are funding other activities that once we leave this year, what was even delaying the implementation of the state action plan is because we are not really able to sit and agree on an implementation plan and then to also fill in the gaps, because we cannot start implementation when there's a lot of things that is not part of the state action plan. Like I said, issues related to women and children. So once we have that at the end of the 2 days, which God's willing by tomorrow, we'll be able to have all this in place. So once we go back, the little money we have will start implementation, and I'm sure, inshallah, as we are implementing, we'll be getting donor support, and then we will continue with work. And the work plan is for 2 years, but then we have a costed work plan for 1 year, and we're hoping we'll do from this month to December. We want to see how far we can go and how far we can assess the work we have done.
So, Ajia,
we're here to make sure that man and strategy documented. However, you have already said and you know the life cycle of the action plan is 2 months now into the implementation program. So this retreat is to ginger all the stakeholders to make sure that they important one of the other towards the implementation of all the programs, as well as to make sure that we get level agencies and all those concerned, including the civil society organizations, play the role in ensuring that we have proper implementation.
see you at the whole about the knowledge of all the relevant stakeholders. So actually, your life cycle is 2 years. The life cycle of the OGP is 2 years. So action plan. What will we start with proper action?
We have started already, and we have started, we have achieved certain level of achievement, but we want to make sure that we have a minimum of 80% implementation of OGP kind of thing. This will give us another opportunity to develop another action plan which will allow other people to take over from us and which will help manage the achieving its OGP score.
So many issues are raised, particularly with regard to Freedom of Information Act, because you civil servants are always trying to make government information confidential, even with the establishment or the FOI on the ground. How do you intend to enlighten the civil servant of Kano State to understand whatever document is meant for the public?
First of all, government is not against availing any or relevant information to the press or any other person that may want to know the activities of government. It is a record that since the inception of the present administration under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. government has been very transparent, open and inclusive. Therefore, the issue that has been raised, of course, even in the Freedom of Information Bill, there are certain restrictions which I think has been thoroughly discussed and presented by the paper presenter. Therefore, like now, if you go to the budget, they avail all the information regarding the budget process, the budget, and other information that the public wants to know or wants to have. And that's why you see all the various stakeholders, especially the non-governmental actors, they have said that even during the budget process, they were out of it. They went even up to the extent of going to the State Assembly to ensure that they have fully participated and they made appropriate input.